this is a clear message to the United States government, federal and state governments. If you really care about women's rights, you will help homeless, vulnerable, at-risk women find affordable housing, safe, stable, dignified housing to protect them and protect if they have any kids or any other family members from the elements of the outside. I'm not implying that women are weaker than men, but women being homeless on the streets makes them vulnerable, makes them at risk to sexual violence and to other bad situations. So yes, if the United States was concerned with women's rights, we would make a serious effort to protect our homeless women, at-risk, vulnerable women, as well as other homeless folks.
Exactly, but that's the thing, right? And so we would give a living wage, we would give a UBI. You give $1,000 a month to a homeless person, more than likely they're gonna go out and say, well, let me go rent an apartment because from now on I'm gonna receive UBI from the United States federal government. And then you would provide them healthcare, universal healthcare for all.
And if they have a stable address, they can get a dignified job.
They can get a job. You would do a federal jobs guarantee. If you really cared about women, you would do every single thing you could effing do. Try not to curse because it gets me pissed the F off. And then if you cared about women so much, why don't you go to Saudi Arabia with King Salman and his bull crap of a son, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, and you go over there and you get them to straighten up. Our top effing ally, who they behead women for adultery, for sorcery, for witchcraft, for whatever in the public square. They can't drive. They can't get an education. And they do it. They sometimes allow it for PR. There's no women's rights there. And they're our top ally. The United States didn't do anything about them. No, because of the oil, because of the money, because they're at war with Russia with oil, and the United States backs Saudi Arabia. That's why. Yeah, of course, but they don't care about women's rights. So now they're saying, oh my God, the Taliban, oh my God. And yes, the Taliban, not great on women's rights, but they just launched I'm sorry, I lost it, but it's just this whole notion that the United States cares about women and women's rights. Give me a effing break. Women don't have as many rights as they should in the United States. And if they cared about women, Saudi Arabia would have been taken care of a long time ago. But Saudi Arabia is so powerful, they could cut off the United States from oil. And I think that's when the United States needs to adopt the effing Green New Deal and say F you to Saudi Arabia and get green energy. Either way, the Taliban launched a charm PR offensive. Say, oh, we care about women. We care about free speech. We care about liberty. We care about this. The problem with the Taliban saying that, and I wanted to get your opinion on this, is, okay, they care about that, but they're going to tailor it to what Sharia law says. And of course, everybody has their own interpretation of Sharia, right? So, for example, hey, we'll put you in government, but there are certain things you can and can't say. Right? So what do you think of their PR launch that what are they really about all this crap, or are they doing this to kind of say, hey, everybody can work with us?
I think there's a complex response to that. I don't think it's a clear yes or no whether we buy into their PR mission or not. I do think let's partially give them a chance. We haven't seen them govern Afghanistan. And if they want to prove that they can effectively govern Afghanistan, what they should go ahead and do is they should make sure to start putting laws on the books and put ink to paper, pen to paper, proving their new vision of Afghanistan. They haven't done that yet. They haven't proven that they're really serious about governing. So I think they have a very narrow window of time to prove that, and they got to get on that fast, snap, right? Mm-hmm. But that's the first thing. The second thing, you clearly made a point that's valuable. Their interpretation of Sharia law. You know, they have their own interpretation. Some mainstream Muslims have a different interpretation. A third group of folks have a different interpretation. And Sharia is more, or a deen, the deen, which is the way of life as a Muslim, is more than just a set of laws on books. It's a way of life. It's a way to conduct yourself in respect, in dignity, in honor. And this isn't necessarily stuff that is enforced by a body of law enforcement. This is a stuff that is self-imposed, self-enforced, and self-practiced. And so I think it's very important to make it clear that it's more on individuals than it is on the Taliban or any other body, a governing body. It's more on the individuals to understand whether they are exercising their rights as per Islamic way of life than for a group to enforce this Islamic way of life upon all. So I think it's not so much the Taliban's place; it's more individuals to decide. But I think the third thing is we, the international community, uh, have to figure out through diplomacy, through effective communication, because now we have a line of communication directly to the Taliban, how we can leverage our diplomatic power to ensure they give a certain semblance of rights to women and rights to minorities in Afghanistan, and frankly compromise. I think we cannot expect them to do everything we like, and they should not expect us to give them or continue to provide them any semblance of legitimacy unless there's a meet in the middle. We're not going to be able to expect them to legalize the consumption of alcohol, legalize adultery or premarital sex, legalize cannabis. Like, we're not going to expect all of that from them, right? But we can expect a certain level of dignity and respect and rights to women and minorities. And we can remind them that they lose legitimacy in the international community if they do not uphold values that are generally accepted by the international community. I don't think we can impose our way of life on them. I don't think they can impose their way of life on us. And I don't think anyone's trying to do that. But what I think we have to know very clear is they have to play this balancing act, because they fought for 20 years telling their soldiers, their fighters, I'm saying this is the political leadership of the Taliban telling their fighters who fought the military brass of the Taliban, if we win, we're going to establish the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, Al-Imara al-Islamiyya al-Afghaniya. So they're going to establish the Islamic Emirate. So since they promised that to their fighters, and that's what they believe, it's not that they gave a fake promise to their fighters, that's what they believe, then they're going to have to uphold some of that deal, some of that promise. So we cannot expect too much.